Hi guys, welcome to another one of my videos. We're going to be talking about my TBR for September, and I'm going to start out now by telling you guys I'm slightly worried. Yeah, okay. So, as you can tell from my thumbnail, my husband is picking my TBR for the month of September. I chose to do this because we are celebrating our 22nd wedding anniversary. I thought it would be a really great idea to let him pick my books. So there has been some books that he has been wanting me to read for a very long time. He's decided, well, he gets to pick, right? These are books that are not on my TBR whatsoever. He picked 6 books. I'm going to go through those with you guys. However, I want to start out with some books that I know that I personally want to read in the month of September as well. These are going to kind of just be like my mood read books that hopefully I can get to, maybe intersperse them a little bit. But again, the books that my husband picked are definitely going to be priority. I do realize that he's been bugging me for about 15 years to read some of these books. So I want to honor him, our anniversary, by finally reading these books. And I think it'll be kind of nice too because they're his favorite books. And so it'll be something that we can talk about as I'm reading them. And so he'll get to geek out on his favorite books with me, which, you know, will be kind of nice. I'm talking to him about my books all the time, but he doesn't read them. So, you know, he laughs with me and he gets the humor when and it's nice because I know he's not going to read them. So then I don't have to worry about spoiling plots and things like that. And I just absolutely love him for that. Like, even if I don't talk about a book, he'll actually come up and be like, hey, how's this book you're reading? I heard you laughing earlier, or something like that. And so he's very, even though he doesn't want to read the books himself, he's very supportive of me and my love of the books, and he knows how much I love talking about them. So he's always asking about them if I'm not giving it. So it's going to be kind of nice to talk about these books and him knowing exactly what I'm talking about and things like that. So yeah. And sometimes I'll read a book that I really think that he would like or should listen to. And sometimes he loves them and sometimes he doesn't. I got him the audiobooks for Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And by the time he was done with Iron Flame, he could not get there was no way he was going to read Onyx Storm. He found the books to be incredibly immature and stupid, and he didn't like them. And to each their own. I personally loved them. I saw them as 5-star books. They frustrated him, and I get that. They're not for everybody, and I don't hate him or think anything's wrong with him just because he doesn't like them. It's his prerogative. And sometimes I'll just bring it up just to hear him rant. It's hilarious. But anyways, I'm going on and on here. But let's start with the books that I hope to get to in September as my mood reads in between the ones I will be reading that my husband picks. This one right here is Zodiac Academy. This is Cursed Fate's book 5. Cursed Fate is book 5. Book 4 is The Shadow Princess. I definitely want to get to this book in September. Yes, I am vlogging the entire series. I decided that I'm just going to let it be one big long video and we're just going to get it all done in one shot. So I'm not exactly sure when that video is coming. At this rate, it might not be until next year, let's be honest, because with all the other books and everything else that I'm trying to read, this 9-book series, I'm lucky if I get one in a month. So, and this is only book 5, so I don't think I'm going to be finishing Zodiac Academy in 2025, unfortunately. It's not because I don't like the series. It's not because I have any problems with it. I love it so far. It is a 5-star series, and I'm just like, what's going to happen next? At the start of 2025, there was this huge pile of books that I wanted to read, just tons of them. And as you guys watched my last video in my most recent book haul, there's so many books that I want to read, so many books that I want to get through. So I'm kind of just splitting them all up so that way I'm getting a chance to read like all sorts of things, and it's working for me. It didn't in the past. In the past, if I started a series, I'd have to read the entire series to its completion before I can move on to another series. But surprisingly enough, this is working. Is that going to be my same method for next year? I don't know. But at least for right now, it's working. I'm not letting too much time go by before I am picking up the next book in the series. So it's not like I'm forgetting what happened. Like, I just finished book 4 like last week. And so it's definitely fresh in my mind still. And I have to know what happens. I have to. So, if you've never read the Zodiac Academy series, it is about two twins who find out that they are in fact not human, and they're still orphans. They had, their father was a king and queen of this other realm, and they died. And so they were orphans as humans, and they're still orphans as fae now. They end up going to this academy to where they can learn about their powers and then be able to take over the throne. But the problem is there are these guys, they're called the heirs, and they are pretty much sharing the throne. Right now, their parents are sharing the throne, sharing the ruling of the kingdom. And it's going to be their jobs to take over for their parents at some point as well. And they don't want to give up their throne. They don't want to give up their power. So they're fighting the twins, and the twins are having to fight them. And they keep telling them they don't want the throne. They just want their inheritance. They just want their money. They just want their home. And then, we don't want to rule. They don't want to rule, but nobody wants to believe them. And so they keep it's definitely bully trope. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this book and in this whole series. Now, is it the most literate book? No, it definitely has some typos and, things like that. But you know what? The story is really good. And if you can get past that, which I could, and I usually find it very hard to do stuff like that. So if you can get past that, I think that you would really like this series, and it's just really, 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 really good. I didn't think I was going to like the bully trope too much, especially when they span out over so many books. But surprisingly, as frustrating as it gets, I'm kind of here for it. I've been doing these 24-hour reading challenges on my channel. If you're interested in that, you should go check out my channel. I've got a couple of them out. I want to continue that plan. So in September, I want to get to the next book in the Blue Moon series, which is not part of the plan. This is by Lucy Score. I am currently reading book 3 in a 24-hour challenge that will be coming out in September. So this challenge won't be coming out until October, but I want to read it in another 24-hour challenge that I will be filming in September. I know, so confusing. This is supposed to be about Nika and Emma, and I'm really excited about that because Nico was introduced in book 1 as Summers, who was the FMC in book 1. It was her kind of like best friend, and even though he didn't play a huge role in the book, you got to meet him a little bit, and so it's gonna be kind of interesting to see their story and follow along with them. And I just like how they're kind of small books. They're not very big, thick books. It's just a palate cleanser and just really good. So I want to read that one. And then, of course, I want to start another Sarah Beth Durst book, and this is called The Spell Shop, and this is book 1 in a duology. And so I have been reading her Queens of Renthia series, also in my 24-hour challenges. And so I figured I would continue with kind of the theme that I've got going on with my 24-hour challenges and pick up another Sarah Beth Durst book. It's supposed to have more romance in it than her Queens of Renthia series. That was just more fantasy. This is supposedly, it's still fantasy, but it's supposed to have more romance involved in it. To end the books that I would like to read for my mood reading, want to start The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore. Lori Gilmore. Okay, guys, that's got to be a play on a name. I don't think that's the author's real name because you've got Rory and Lorelai Gilmore and Lori Gilmore. And everything that I have been hearing about this book says that it is... Oh, sorry, I got something in my eye. Everything that I've been hearing about this book says that it is basically Gilmore Girls. This is like small town spicy romance. It's got Stars Hollow, Gilmore Girl vibes, things like that. And just look at the cover. I bought this a while ago and it was just giving me fall vibes, and I figured, what better book to start in fall? 100% here for it. And this is part of a series. So I've got a couple of the books and I want to read one of them every single month. But there's the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, the Christmas Tree Farm, the Strawberry Patch Pancake House, and a couple other ones. This is part of the Dream Harbor series. Really excited. I'm gonna start my first fall book, and this is what it's gonna be. So now that we're done with the ones that I would like to mood read in the month of September, hopefully, now we're getting into the books that my husband chose for me. I'm gonna take a drink real quick, and then we'll get into it. First off, this is gonna be a little different because I couldn't find any of these books. Some of them weren't even on Kindle because I have Kindle Unlimited, but they weren't even on Kindle. So I had to actually go into my iTunes and I had to purchase them through my iBooks. And I had to do it that way. And then some of them I'm going to be actually listening to on audiobook because I could not find them anywhere. They were not for sale on Amazon. They were not in for Kindle, obviously, you know, they weren't in iBooks or anything. And my husband had downloaded them, the audiobook versions, from our public library back in our old state 12, 13 years ago, maybe even longer for some of these. And so we still had them on a hard drive. And so I actually had to plug in my phone to my computer, which we haven't done in such a long time. It took us a while to figure out how to do that because we couldn't remember how. Anyway, so we had to like go old school and we had to plug my phone into the computer and then download the audiobooks onto my phone so that I can be able to listen to them. So it's going to be kind of an interesting mix-up. Normally I just read books. I don't really listen to audiobooks too much because I have a tendency to get distracted very, very easily with the things that are going on around me, and then I don't compute the information that's being put into my ears. Hopefully we can do that. I'm trying to see it as an upside. I do have some artwork that I want to do in the next couple months as well, so I think that this will be a good time for me to be able to do both. I can draw and listen to some of these books. So anyways, let's get right into it. The first book that he wants me to read is titled His Majesty's Dragon by Naomi Novik. And this is book 1 of the Tamaray series. And he wants me to read book 1 right now. I think there's like 9 books in the series, so it's pretty big. But he just wants me to commit to book 1 for right now. Now, this series, he has been bugging me to read. And I just need to say this. Most of the books that he has chose for me are completely out of my wheelhouse. No romance, no love, no spies. It is just fantasy and like thriller and suspense and just, yeah. This is going to be interesting for me. And he's been talking about His Majesty's Dragon for like ever. And I feel like in some ways I already know the characters because he's talked about them so much because he thought that I was never going to read them. And so I have a few spoilers, but not many. You know, he's shared it a lot throughout the years. And so there's obviously some things that I don't remember. But the gist of what I'm understanding is that and I could be completely wrong. So the way I understand it, he was a pirate. He found a mysterious egg and come to find out it was a dragon. The dragon hatched. So then he's taken and put in the army for like, I guess, dragon riders or something like that. And so this story is just, at least book 1 is all about adjusting to his new land life and becoming a dragon rider and getting used to his powers and building his friendship up with his dragon. And this is supposed to be kind of historical too. It takes time during the Napoleon Wars. So it's like integrating this fantasy world in with the Napoleon War. And it's supposed to have a lot of acrobatics, the aerial acrobatics. Wow, I'm having such a hard time saying that. Boy meets reptile story. It's got war and dragon riding. I believe the name of the dragon is Tamaray, but my husband loves it. And every single time over the past forever, every time I get into a reading slump and I'm like, man, I'm in a reading slump. I just don't know what to do. He's like, read His Majesty's Dragon. Read His Majesty's Dragon. Read His Majesty's Dragon. He's been saying that so much. So I knew the minute he's like, well, can I get you to read any book? I just knew this book was going to end up on that list. Every other one I was kind of, surprised about a little bit. But this one I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. So the Tamaray series is his all-time favorite series. And it even has a little thing up here from Stephen King, you guys, from Stephen King. It says, a terrifically entertaining fantasy novel from Stephen King. This is definitely going to be outside my little house, but we'll see how it goes. I want to like it because it's his all-time favorite book. But I know at the same time, if I don't, he's not going to judge me, just like I've never judged him. But I want to love it. For him, I want to love it. And there's 9 books in the series, so who's to say that I won't read more, right? Like, you know, it could happen. You know, and my husband tells me that His Majesty's Dragon does have a little bit of romance in it. Like, he has, eventually he meets a girl, and they kind of, you know, form this relationship, but she's also in the military, and she's in a different type of unit, so they don't get to see each other very much. You know, just like every once in a while they'll meet up in the same area on assignment or something, and then they'll spend some time together, and then they go their separate ways after that. So they're kind of exclusively with each other, but yet not, because they're separated. So, and I don't know if she has her own dragon or not, or if she's part of another unit or whatever. I don't know, and I didn't ask because I kind of want to be surprised from there. Okay, so then book 2 is Furies of the Cauldron. I don't know why it's actually not showing the image on here. Furies of the Cauldron, which is book 1 of the Codex Alera series. This is another high fantasy book. And basically, it's about this boy who lives in this world where there are these furies, their powers, like the fury of wind, the fury of water, the fury of fire. And this poor boy has none of these powers, none of these abilities. He's just completely human, and which is very, I guess, rare in this particular world to not have these powers. And then war rages out, and all of these events and things start happening, and he gets entangled in all of this. And it just goes to show that someone with enough drive, enough force, enough strength of character, despite not having any magical abilities, can still win the day, still be a hero, still make a name for himself, despite not having any of these said abilities. So that's all I know about this book. I remember my husband listening to it on audiobook. I found this one on a book. I wanted to read some books. I didn't want them to be all audiobooks because I definitely couldn't do that. So for my husband, His Majesty's Dragon was also an audiobook for him, but I found it on a book. All the ones I could find in book, I found in book form. I just don't remember much about him talking about it. So that's pretty much all I know. And so I'm pretty much practically going in totally blind. Oh, and I didn't mention, The Furies of the Cauldron is by Jim Butcher. Let's do it. Why not? Let's do it. And this is going to be an audiobook. I couldn't find it to read. So next we have a book called Battle World. This one is a lit RPG sci-fi series, and it is written by Cassius and Castor, and it's read by Todd Meneses. And supposedly this book is supposed to be basically where aliens came and they took over the world, and they took all of the strongest fighters and they shipped them off to another planet and put them in like gladiatorial games where they have to fight and stuff like that. And so then that's the story ensues about this boy who, I guess, comes of age and then gets taken away and sent to another world where he gets his body gets infused in with this like battle suit type of thing. And him and a bunch of other newcomers basically revolt. They take over the base, and their plan is to, take out these aliens, I guess, and take the world back under control using this type of stuff. So it's obviously a series. This is book 1. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to listen to it on an audiobook. And again, way out of my wheelhouse. What has my husband done to me? Oh my gosh. September is going to be the month of out-there-ness. And a lot of these books that he's picked for me are, again, part of series, but he just wants me to read book 1 of them just to dip my toes in, and who knows, he's like, maybe I'll find something that I like. He did pick the Queens of Renthia books for me at Walmart, and I did end up loving them, so it could happen. This one, I'm going, well, we know I can't DNF books, so, yeah, I'm gonna be listening to it too. We'll just have to see how it goes. Yay! The next book that I will be reading is Mission Clockwork by Arthur Slade. I think it's going to be another fantasy book. Yeah. I don't know if my husband loves me or if he's trying to torture me. But I love him, so we're trying his favorite books. So guys, this is all about his favorite books. So if you're ever wondering what books my husband loves to read, here you go. Now, this book I think has some romance in it, just from what I read of the exempt. I don't ever remember my husband talking about this. I'm sure he did, but again, probably a long time ago. So this takes place in like the Victorian era, and he's supposed to be like the world's best spy until he meets Octavia. I'm kind of getting Hunchback of the Notre Dame vibes here, because this guy is a spy, but he has a shape-shifting ability. He has the ability to turn himself from his normal self, which is an unsightly, hunchbacked man, to he can shapeshift into anyone. He can shapeshift into anybody. So, but his normal look is like Quasimodo. Think Quasimodo. That's kind of the image that the description vibe is giving me. Then people start, he doesn't want Octavia to ever know what his true self looks like. But then people start going missing, and he ends up teaming up with her to find this mystery of what's happening. And then it gets worse, because then those disappearances start turning into assassinations, and then the story just kind of unfolds from there. It basically says here that Mission Clockwork is a steampunk-powered, action-packed adventure featuring brilliant heroes and bloody brilliant villains. It's the first novel in the award-winning series from the best-selling author Arthur Slade. I don't know. We're going to have to see. We have to give it a try. This is one that I will be reading. I managed to find this one in the books, so it's good to go. It's good to go. Then we have my next book, which is supposed to be a small book. It's not very big at all, and it's called Stone Father by Orson Scott Card. And just like, look at the picture. That's like a really pretty picture. So this one's all about a guy who travels, goes to the city where the water mages live. And as things ensue, he develops his own magic abilities. It doesn't clarify what they are, if they're magic or maybe there's something else. But he has to be careful, because magic has certain rules and certain laws that need to be followed, and because he's never trained or studied, I mean, it sounds like these magic powers maybe came to him late in life, maybe. He has to be careful, because he could end up hurting everybody he knows and everybody he cares about, and so he has to be careful when he's using these abilities. So again, that's all I know about this particular book. And so it's another one I'm going to be going in totally blind with. And this is one of the ones that we had to plug in my phone for and download the audiobook from our files so that I can listen to it. So it's not very long, but I mean, it sounds kind of good. I'm not going off much information. It sounds like it, from my information, is going to be about a 3-hour listen. That's not very long at all, honestly. So definitely a small book, and I'm here for it. And now on to the last book. Now this one, he also recommended to me a long time ago. It sounded very interesting, and for a while I even had it saved on my Kindle Unlimited. And this was like a long time ago, back when Kindle Unlimited like first became a thing. And then eventually it just, they took it off Kindle, and it's not on Amazon or Kindle or iTunes or anything. Luckily, he still had the audiobook in his files, so that I was able to put it on my phone, so I'll be able to listen to it. I do remember him talking about this one, and this one definitely actually sounds up my alley and more in my wheelhouse. So that's kind of why I saved it for last too, because it was something that I wanted to get to. I just never did. And that's called Undone by Rachel Caine. My lights get reflecting off of the thing here. You have this woman, Cassiel, who used to be a big, all-powerful Djinn, and she ends up defying her master, and because of that, she gets punished, and she gets basically her power stripped away and forced into a measly little human body, and loses all of her powers. And however, in order to keep things the way that they are, she has to continuously go to this group of people, which are known as the Weather Wardens. She has to tap into their power regularly in order to stay alive. So she ends up kind of working for this Weather Warden and helping him on his missions. She, I guess, starts developing feelings for his brother or something like that. And I don't know if there's a romance between the brother or if it's going to end up being him. I don't know yet. So I'm not sure which direction that's going. I do vaguely remember him talking about it, my husband talking about it a long time ago. And from what I can remember, and hopefully I'm remembering the right book, but it sounds like the Weather Wardens, kind of how they do their job is they have these like computer type things that they tap into, almost like computers, right? And then they use their power to go around and solving all these cases and things like that, and somehow by tapping into this technology. And she ends up helping with that. I'm wanting to think that that's the right book. I'm also going in relatively blind with this series as well. So again, that seems to be the theme going on around here. But anyways, that's the last book. He picked 6 books, and boy, did he make sure they were going to be interesting for me. I love you too, darling dear. He's just stoked. I think he can't wait for September to come along and where I start reading these books, especially His Majesty's Dragon. September's going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to be reading books that are out of the norm for me. We're just going to have to see how it goes, and I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know what I think, genuinely, because I'm not going to lie. I'm a romance all the way. All the way. Again, the Queens of Renthia actually surprised me. I think that it has just enough, just a sprinkling enough of romance to help me get through it. But even then, I think, like them because they're just really that good. So I know that I'm capable. I loved Aragon, and I loved Harry Potter. I love the Hunger Games. I've read every single book from the minute they came out, before they were even movies, before the movies were even before they were even a thing. So I've read books that weren't all just romance. So I know that I'm capable of liking books outside of just romance, but romance is definitely my genre. But it is good every now and then to do something different and to change it up. If nothing else, it'll help me go back into my books in October and reappreciate the romance. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have read any of these books, because these guys are oldies. So if I've got any of you guys that are watching this that were born in the 80s, like, give this video a like. And comment down below if you've heard of any of these books, read any of these books, maybe know somebody who read these books, and give me your opinions without spoilers, because I would love, 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 love to see some people and see if other people have read any of these books or have even heard of them. So thank you guys for sticking with me and watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.